It would have been easy for the new Duluth School Administration to blame the previous one for the district's $4.2 million financial mess, but they didn't do that.
I'm looking forward, I'm not looking backwards, and I think that's the only way you can deal with it.
And the district has its work cut out for it. A newly released audit points to problems that have plagued the district for the past 5 years that have led to a huge budget shortfall. Among the trouble spots, they say, the finance department is severely understaffed, leading to a lack of accountability and oversight, especially in student activity accounts.
Duluth is a difficult district to manage because there is the combination of the Duluth Technical College. There is the 100 grants and aid programs that come both from the federal and the state.
The district is already working on solutions. They've hired a new accountant and auditor, but officials admit it will take at least 10 years before the district's cash flow problem is solved and at least 3 or 4 years before the budget is balanced.
It truly is a time of treading water, I guess, and hoping at some point in time the legislature will be willing to give us some additional general revenue dollars, because they haven't done that in the last 3 years, to assist us with general educational programs.
The district is also counting on the public's help, but after a year of surprise budget problems, they admit it won't be easy. In Duluth, Amy Rutledge, News 6.
The number of casinos has exploded in the Northland, and so has the number of problem gamblers.
The more implements that are available, the higher the gambling or problem gambling rate will increase.
A recent survey conducted in Aitkin and Carleton County says close to 12% of county residents are probable or potential pathological gamblers. That compares to just 1.5% of residents statewide. Former compulsive gambler Rodney Radich says pathological gambling is the most serious form.
It's at that point when the preoccupation of gambling, the thought of gambling, the thinking of gambling, the ways to develop resources or money sources to keep gambling with takes over a person's focus in life.
The survey also shows only about 2% of those likely to be problem gamblers recognize the problem, although a higher number admitted they had gambled more than they intended to. The Minnesota Council on Compulsive Gambling expects to see more disturbing studies like this, but they hope gambling education will bring these numbers down in the coming years. In Duluth, Dave Jench, News 6.
Get races ready! Go! Because we said races already. Go! Go, Red.
Bob Ronke, owner of the Rapids Riverside Bar and Grill just outside of Superior, says he's losing customers to gambling casinos. He says some of his regulars have chosen gambling as a way to spend available cash, and he can't compete. Ronke, like many bar owners, wants access to legalized video gambling to help win some of that business back.
If we can't have the gambling here for them, they're going to go find us elsewhere.
Since the casinos have hit the state, sales in some small businesses in Douglas County have decreased by nearly 20%. Douglas County has no casinos, and all its neighboring counties do.
The issue is our small businesses are having severe negative impacts because people are leaving the area with their disposable income, and there's no return in other types of jobs to the community.
Woody Budnick, Executive Director of the Superior Douglas County Chamber of Commerce, says he would rather see another form of action.
Either everyone has gambling or nobody has gambling, because right now we're an island without it, and it's a real disadvantage to us.
Wisconsin voters will have their say on the matter on the April 6th election. A referendum asks voters if they are for or against an expansion of gambling. In Douglas County, Dave Jensch, News 6.
Fran Bernstein from Millard Watt Hospital. It's an excellent way for people to actually become.
There are so many things out there that the corporate community could latch onto and take on as a mission for themselves, but I don't think there's any mission at this time that's more important than substance abuse. And
now we start taking the bench, the lower part of the tunnel, and after that the concrete work starts, the finished product, and eventually after that the public.
It has a tremendous economic impact in the city of Duluth. First of all, construction jobs on this project, and about $8 million of the $12 million would be in the private development of Mr. Brown. It's estimated there would be approximately 200 construction jobs during the construction of this, which could begin as early as this fall and be completed by the spring of 1994. In addition to that, we would have 250 full and part-time jobs that would be established for our community.
Duluth Police and the Minnesota State Patrol take to the air to track a suspect who has reportedly shot and wounded his wife, then fled into the woods near Enger Park.
He's believed to be armed with a long-barreled weapon of some type. As far as we know, no one else should be in the park. The inner perimeter has been secured.
On foot, it could take officers hours to find the suspect in the dark. But in this training exercise, authorities are armed with the latest crime-fighting weapon. Using a helicopter with an infrared sensor, police can scan the area quickly, picking up anything that gives off heat.
And primarily what it's used for now is for search and rescue operations. If a child is lost or a hunter is lost in a wooded area, it allows us to come in during the middle of the night when most searches would be called off for lack of light. It allows us to utilize those hours to continue the search.
Authorities say a recent murder case in the Northland illustrates the importance of this type of training exercise.
As you know, there was a recent incident up in Silver Bay where a person had fled into the woods with a weapon, and this could happen in Duluth, so we're training for an event that might happen.
The helicopter is based out of St. Paul. Efforts are underway to bring one to the Northland. Amy Rutledge, News 6.
And I'm sure other people will be talking about the specifics, and I'm sure you hear it every day.
To provide services at the least possible cost. We're also talking about competition because the prices for services and the quality of those services will be available to the public for the first time. So people will be able to do a better job of shopping for their health care.
School officials say Bridget Lagarde, the woman hired to teach Indian culture at the reservation school, was the most qualified candidate for the job, including being fluent in the Ojibwe language. But to some tribal members, that's not enough.
Is that enough to make her a good teacher?
No, it's not, because I go along with what Isaac had to say here, that you have to be Indian to understand Indian. And that's the way I grew up, and that's the way it's got to be.
The Reservation Elected Parents Committee is normally involved in teacher selection, but say they're being left out of the process.
And our sole purpose was to institute American Indian language and culture into this school, and to give that input, to constantly survey and go over and give that input. And now we have been bypassed.
The committee has no real authority, but say they are speaking for many people. School officials who wouldn't talk on camera said simply that they stand behind Lagarde and say they can't terminate people based on race. But the Parents Committee members we talked to said this runs much deeper than one teacher and one school. They're worried the future of their entire culture could be at stake. Isaac Greensky, a tribal elder and medicine man, says it is one thing to have non-Indians teaching other subjects, but for cultural studies, teachers must pass on knowledge from an Indian perspective.
It's altogether different from what it was from what the white people was put in the history book. What they put is what they know. And what they don't know anything about the Indian people. They don't know anything about me. They don't know anything about her. They don't know anything about my grandfather, my great-grandfather. They don't know anything about that. So, who wrote history?
On the Fond du Lac Reservation, Derek Hines, News 6.
How are you? Have a good winter?
Welcome to Gordy's High Hat Drive-In Restaurant. Get in line, grab a seat, and get here early if you want to eat. After a long winter's nap, Gordy's has come out of hibernation.
The vacation's over. Now we get excited every spring when we open up. We work hard at it when we're working at it, and we look forward to a good hard summer. But it's fun for us because this is all we know.
And Gordy Lundquist, along with his wife Marilyn at the grill and their son Dan, are very good at what they do. The long lines on opening day point to their success.
Well, I guess it's partly because it's a tradition here and partly because it's just good food.
Gordy's has opened every spring since 1960. Back then, burgers were 19 cents. But while prices may have changed, the service has stayed the same.
Well, they're fresh meat, they're not frozen, and made with tender, loving care by Gordy and everybody.
But it's not just the food that keeps customers coming back.
This is open year-round. I would really like that. Yeah. We come out for coffee here and meet a lot of people. I just love it. I just love it here. I meet so many people.
For many customers, opening day at Gordy's is a rite of spring, regardless of the weather outside.
It's still springtime. It's always spring when Gordy's open.
In Cloquet, Amy Rutledge, News 6.
We now return to our normal broadcast schedule. Test, repeat, this is a test. The National Weather Service in cooperation with Wisconsin.
My fourth
month in Duluth, so.
Yeah. So you were hurt in the winter?
Can possibly be in a tornado. Number one are mobile homes. Do not stay in your mobile home. Most deaths in tornadoes occur in mobile homes. Do not stay in your car in a tornado. Do not try to outrun your car in a tornado. That's the second most common place for deaths to occur in tornadoes is in your car. Very often people hear a tornado is coming, they'll go hop in their car and try to outrun it or go away from it. And very often they end up driving right into it.
National Weather Service, in cooperation with Minnesota's Division of Emergency Management, has just...
you did the observation.
However, as I've gone through this, I've tried to focus on the mission and tried to maybe some dead time that goes in between. So what we have suggested, no need to repeat testimony. Those have submitted exhibits. The exhibits are part of the record.
Fact that I'm following those. Further, for the past 12 or more weeks, it's my personal opinion that my family and I have suffered anguish, mental stress. And in the meantime, as you suffer that, you have a problem of maintaining focus on the job. And quite simply, I've been slandered, harassed, stalked. I've had character defamation, and it's been led by none other than some woman in this community, and I think we all know who that is. It's my personal opinion that Member Snover just got caught up in that.
To have triplets, spontaneous triplets, and I'd have to say that I believe if we're chosen, I believe the one that chose us for the job can provide for us. Yeah.
That faith has guided Linda and Mark Utero of Wascott, Wisconsin through a difficult pregnancy and a very tough birth. 1 week ago today, Linda delivered 3 baby boys, each weighing about as much as an average single-birth baby. The largest was just half an ounce short of 7 pounds. The smallest weighed in at 5 pounds 11 ounces. But for the Utero family, the test has just begun. They have 4 children under 8 at home. Still, they couldn't be happier about the new additions.
We had our 4 children, and we felt that our family was really full, and it was really a challenge. But when we found out we were expecting the triplets, it was such a phenomenal feeling. You really do feel chosen. You feel it's such a special privilege.
The babies are named Cody, Caleb, and Corey. They were born just 1 minute apart. The middle baby, Caleb, has had trouble digesting his food and so has been incubated to give him more time to grow. The doctors aren't sure if the boys are identical or fraternal triplets, but they're running some tests to try to find out. Linda was adopted, so isn't sure if multiple births are in her family history. Cody and Corey will be able to go home with Mom and Dad tonight. Caleb's going to have to spend another week or so here in intensive care, but the doctors say he is doing much better. At St. Mary's in Duluth, Barbara Riles, News 6.
We have made arrangements with Lifelink, and we also have a helicopter that can take people out of there if they aren't seriously ill.
I don't live in a false world. If this works, I wouldn't doubt that it'll become a regular thing.
The ruff has the ability to reproduce and to thrive throughout much of the North American fresh water. If it spreads, it'll cause widespread degradation of aquatic ecosystems and fisheries.
The Roman Catholic Church has recognized just 17 Virgin Mary sightings and weeping statue episodes in the past 200 years. Kettle River, where some believe the Virgin Mary will appear this Sunday, is not one of them. The Duluth Diocese has investigated the messages involving Kettle River and found serious doubts of their divine origin. The diocese has also urged people to stay away from that farm field. In 1991, hundreds of miles from the Birch Cross, a chain of unexplained happenings brought thousands of people to Lake Ridge, Virginia.
At 12 o'clock, I looked up and I saw the Blessed Mother.
There, without warning, a small statue of the Virgin Mary appeared to be crying. A young priest, Father Jim Bruzy, developed signs of the stigmata, bleeding from his wrists, feet, and side. Reports of healings and crowds soon appeared. In August of last year, the church ordered the father to stop talking to the press. The crowds dwindled. One miracle the Catholic Church does recognize involves this centuries-old image of Our Lady of Guadalupe. This beautiful image was imprinted on a young Mexican peasant's cloak after the church asked for a sign proving the appearance of the Virgin.